Yeah, the seasonal forecast from NOAA will come out in about 2 weeks. I think it's the 24th is the date that it'll be announced. So I don't know the particulars on the seasonal forecast as far as numbers. I do know that some of the key factors we're looking at, the state of the sea temperatures in the tropical Atlantic is one of the biggest factors. If you have much warmer than normal, like we did last year or the year before, that factors into at least a more favorable environment for more storms. And then the other one that a lot of people say, how can this be? But it is, just trust me. The conditions of the tropical Pacific affect our weather patterns that affect the hurricane season in the Atlantic. And last year we were in a La Nina, fairly strong one, and that was very, we considered that as a very plus factor why we had a large number of storms last year. This year the forecast is for us to transition possibly even to a full El Nino. And El Ninos are less than normal storms, especially the ones that form east in the Caribbean basin, because the environment gets hostile for there. And the sea temperatures, because of an unusual condition this winter where the trade winds have been stronger than normal, right now in the Atlantic are much cooler than they were last year at this time. So if those two factors continue to play out going into the season, you would expect to see less storms. However,
I knew there was a but coming.
20 years ago, we had, if I gave you a forecast of only 6 storms, guarantee it, it's a perfect forecast. I know this will verify. Only one major hurricane and only one landfall. The only thing I can't tell you is where it's going to make landfall. Are you going to prepare less?
No.
Well, that's a good. As long as you keep telling me you're going to prepare less, you got it. You understand the problem, because that was Andrew. Andrew was a major hurricane that destroyed South Florida, and if people had actually used the numbers in the forecast to prepare less for a third less storms, they've been in trouble.
What about New England? Are we prepared enough from what you're seeing from the other folks at this conference?
Mm-hmm. Well, I just started here, but I'll tell you, even in Florida and Texas, where I'm most familiar from living there, is you're never prepared enough. It's very complex. A major hurricane is a life-changing event when it hits you, and no two storms are alike. So as much as we work on the things we can work on, there's always more you feel you can do.
You said in your presentation that you are getting better at telling where these storms are going to go, where these named storms are going to go, and where and how, the time frame and the intensity. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Correct. The largest improvement we've seen, at least in my career, over the hurricane problem is forecasting the where is it going to go. We made a forecast in 1990 would have been off at 48 hours, for example, by as much as 200 miles, is now off less than 100 miles. We've cut those errors in half. Big computers that can run complex computer models, better data sources, and a better understanding of what it is that causes the mechanisms to steer a hurricane, so that we can run those kind of models in those computers is what's led to that. There's several factors at play there that are relatively complex, and some of them are on kind of a large scale, and it's like we talk about wind shear and large areas of dry air, or how good the moisture is. That's a factor. And the heat content of the ocean underneath it. Those we think we can come up with improvements in the forecast on that'll lead to a forecast of change of intensity out 2 or 3 days in advance, maybe. However, another school of thought on the rapid change of intensity is that it's dominated by what's going on in the cluster of thunderstorms that make what we call the eye wall. It's the donut-shaped thing you see around there. The formation of that, the changes of that, and all that, if it's driven by those thunderstorms, and we're still doing research to try to ascertain just how that works, until we know exactly how that works, it's hard to come up with a computer model, and then you have to have data at that resolution to actually forecast that, and that's the part that we haven't got.